broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Happy Monday, everyone. If you are tuning in to AfterBuzzTV.com, you have come to the right place because this is the Amazing Race After Show for Season 27, Episode 6. My tongue doesn't even twist that way. I'm your host, James Wallington, and across the table from me is...
Hi, guys. It's Marie.
Hey, Marie.
Hey.
We are down a member today. Jess is busy doing things this afternoon, so she will not be joining us. So it's just Marie and I in the house.
It's okay. I have enough to say for two people.
Yeah, right? We're good. We're good to go. So let's talk about Episode 6. My tongue doesn't even twist that way. Overall thoughts on the episode, Marie?
I liked it. I thought it was a good episode. It felt like there was a lot going on. I was like, oh my God, it's still going. There's still 20 minutes left. Like, a lot happened, so I was happy.
I definitely agree. It was very action-packed. There was a lot of things that were happening. A bum that it was to be continued. I'm not a big fan of that, obviously. But, yeah, it was a good episode.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch. So right off the bat, the teams at the pit stop that talked about the Express Pass were Alabama and Texas. They're just kind of like catching up about, why did you give us the Express Pass, et cetera, et cetera. James Earl said, trying to be nice, be kind, and do the right thing, and we'll come back and pay you back. And so I really love Denise and James Earl's mentality in the race.
But that's not why they got the pass.
Well, of course not. But, if you want to keep believing that, then
Right.
keep believing that.
She was like, why? And he was like, oh, because you guys helped us so much. When in reality, he was like, they're not a threat to us. Let's give it to them.
So I wonder if James Earl and Denise kind of had a hunch about that.
They have to know a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. First off, I want to give a shout out to everyone in the live chat before we proceed recapping this episode. We have so much happening right now. We have the cheerleader. Well, we have Krista from the cheerleaders watching live right now, as well as the green team and our usual viewers, Paula Mangarelli, Adam Millwood, Daniel B., Arrowman, Eric Barter, Scarpen, Steven Sosa, Darren Henry, just to name a few that I see on my screen right now. So it's a party in the live chat, which we love. So what I loved at the beginning of this episode is they dove right into the roadblock.
Right away.
Right on the map.
Roadblock.
It said, who wants to get their heart pumping? Immediately I would have been having an anxiety attack reading that because it could have meant like a multiple different things.
Right.
What did you think of the roadblock?
I liked it, of course. I mean, I was almost jealous. So far, we've seen them jump off so many things. I was like, I never got to jump off anything. So I was having FOMO, like another episode where immediately, you have to almost plummet to your death. I thought it was cool. And, as it turns out, I don't know if it's because they were switching back and forth with the roadblocks, but right away Tanner has to do it, and he's like scared of heights. So I was like, oh my God, he's gonna die.
It actually surprises me how many people are afraid of heights on the race this season. I mean, even Diana was like, I'm afraid of heights.
Right.
I'm not comfortable doing this. So
there's like one of every pair that like someone's deathly afraid of heights.
Or just not comfortable with the idea.
Right.
But like, let's talk about Denise, because I
So cute.
totally applaud her. She's such a badass. For this roadblock, team started in the leg in Zimbabwe still and received the roadblock clue asking who wants to get their heart pumping. They made their way to Victoria Falls Bridge, where one team member had to strap on a harness and bungee jump 364 feet. My hands are already getting clammy just reading that because I'm definitely not a fan of heights. From the bridge. Once they returned to the top, they had to write down their heart rate from a Fitbit fitness watch.
Of course.
Teams were advised to track this information throughout the leg as it would be used in a challenge on the following leg. The roadblock participants this leg were Denise, Diana, Tanner, Joey, Krista, Rick, and Chris. Like we said, Diana and Tanner obviously not comfortable with heights, wanting to overcome it, but Denise.
So cute.
Love her. Her jumping off, that was probably the highlight of the entire episode for me. She is so cute. And I just was thinking, oh my God, what a badass mom.
I know.
She's like a cool mom. She's not like a regular mom,
She's adorable. How can you not love her, though?
I know some people that are like kind of iffy about Denise, which surprises me because I'm like, why?
Right.
She's a character and you can't help but love
Yeah.
her. So, God love you, Denise. The route info, once teams finished completing the roadblock, which was really cool to see, was that route info that ended up being an equalizer because all of the teams were on the same flight to Paris. They got a clue that instructed them to travel to Paris, France. Everyone was on the same flight. And I thought what was interesting is Cindy and Rick mentioned that Paris was like their city, but I don't feel like there was much backstory to explain.
No,
I know they
no
said,
one explained it.
Did they meet there 2 years ago? Is that where they went on their honeymoon?
Unless we missed something, like I caught the comment, but I was like, why?
And then I was asking, I was left asking.
Maybe people in the chat know.
Yeah, maybe the
Guys,
green
fill us in if you
team
know.
or the cheerleaders could weigh in for us because I'm a little confused as to what they meant by that. Like, did they get married in Paris?
I
Did
don't
they
know.
meet in Paris? Did they go honeymoon in Paris? So many questions.
Or maybe they just meant like this was their leg. Like this is going to be their city. They're going to do well.
They're going to own it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, in the live chat, I want to welcome Tiffany from the cheerleaders. She just joined. So now we have
Tiffany.
the full cheerleader team and the green team in our live chat. So exciting. And our viewer count went up to 21. So thank you for everyone who's joining in. Once teams landed in Paris, everyone was like a mad dash through the airport trying to get on that train into the city. The green team had a pretty good lead over the other teams.
Yeah.
They were the only team to get on that first train out of the airport where everyone else was stuck on the second train. Again, keeping with the equalizer. It could have been anyone's leg this race. Once they landed in Paris, they had to travel by train to the aerodrome. I'm going to not even attempt the name because I'm just going to butcher it. Aerodrome in the town of La Ferté-Alais. Again,
Close enough.
I didn't take French. I took Spanish in high school. And it was another roadblock at the aerodrome. Who's feeling revolutionary? But the twist was the team member who did not participate in the first roadblock earlier in the episode had to fly in a vintage Boeing PT-17 biplane over the French countryside and spot the 3 words on the motto of the French Revolution seen from the ground. Liberté, égalité, fraternité.
Close. This might be the worst you've ever butchered anything.
I would have been screwed on this leg.
But none of them really pronounce it right. As long as you get
That's
close.
true.
Like you saw it, you got the point. Like
Exactly. I would have been like liberty, equality, fraternity. I wouldn't even put the little tilde or whatever that thing is on there. Whatever. Once they recited the words, a pilot would give them the next clue, sending them to travel back to Paris and search the grounds of Square Louise Michel around Sacré something Basilica. And then they would be given their next clue.
So this kind of bothered me a little bit. I mean, I know it looks cool, but the first roadblock is a bungee jump. So you get there, you know, when it's your time, they just drop you off the side of the cliff and then you're done.
Right.
This next thing you get to and they put you in a plane. You know, however long it takes this person to fly around and whether they fly close enough or far enough away for you to see what's going on, like it's not exactly in your control. And I think for 2 roadblocks in one leg, to not have one of them be something that you're 100% in control of, I kind of was like, I don't like this. Because like, where do you mess up? Where do you get ahead? You know, if you were in last place and you got to the second roadblock and they were like, build something, and you were so good at it, okay, you're going to catch up. But it was like, after this, going into the next part, you kind of knew where everyone was going to be. There was only 3 planes.
Yeah.
You know, you had to wait for your turn to get in a plane when somebody got off. So I didn't love it.
But to kind of like play devil's advocate to what you're saying, because I totally agree, Logan totally messed up.
Yeah, because Logan's pilot probably didn't fly anywhere near that.
You really think so? The pilot just forgot to fly next to the third letter.
Listen, these things have happened. I have experience with pilot situations on The Amazing Race.
Okay, so fair enough. That could have happened. But Logan, obviously making the mistake, she only saw 2 words out of the 3. So she had to get into the back of the pack and do it all over again, which obviously caused the paparazzi to lose time instead of gain time on the team. So that put them at the back of the pack. But for this roadblock, we had Justin, James Earl, Josh, Kelsey, Cindy, Logan, and Tiffany all doing it. It seemed like everyone enjoyed themselves.
Tiffany was so cute in the suit. It was like so big on her and she was so adorable.
This challenge, I don't know. This might be going like way back to like earlier seasons of Amazing Race, but there was something similar where they had to get into a plane and they would do like a twist and turn or whatever in the sky. It reminded me of the Amazing Race Family Edition, because there was a episode where they had to do something in I think Arizona, and then a fighter jet and fly around the sky. So I like the airplane stuff. I would be terrified, and I probably would have to wear a diaper, but it was still fun nonetheless to watch it. Once teams finished, they had to make their way back to Paris. And of course, we see the relationship that we haven't really seen much of this season between Team Texas and the cheerleaders. They're running together. They're asking people for directions. You can actually see now a relationship between the two of them, which in, bonus clips online, we see that. But on the real show, we haven't seen much of a relationship develop between the two of them. But another thing that's been shocking me a lot about this episode was how much the green team bickered.
Yes. Oh my God, I have so much in my notes about that.
So let's just do a little segment on the green team, because I'm sure Justin would love that. I was a little shocked with how they handled a lot of things this entire leg. What do you have to say? What's in your notes?
I think that he has to be in control, and I'm kind of noticing she's realizing that, she can do a lot more than she thought that she was capable of. And I think she's realizing as we go along, hey, I'm better at stuff than I thought. And she's kind of starting to realize that her input matters, and that, there's times when she might be right and he might be wrong. And I notice that every time they have to make a decision, no matter what she says, he kind of decides for them. But then he's like, but do you agree? Just in case, so she agreed in case they were wrong. It's not his fault.
Yeah.
But they always do what he wants. And I don't think that that's necessarily the right decision at this point. In the beginning, I would have thought so, because I thought, he was basically going to carry her through the whole race, but she's really showing that she's a great asset to their team, and I think he needs to listen to her a little more.
I agree. We're going to pause for just 1 second. We're going to take a little break from the green team conversation. We did get an answer to the whole Paris is our city comment that the Chack Attack team made. Krista from the cheerleader said Rick proposed to Cindy last year in Paris. So now it makes sense.
Thanks, Krista.
It comes full circle. Yes, thanks, Krista. Okay, now back to the green team. I agree with you. I think that Justin, this kind of goes back to what we said before we even watched the show. When we watched the interviews with the green team, we said one thing about Justin that could be an issue is that he's a little too eager, too excited, because he is such a super fan, that instead of thinking about the team, I feel like there's moments where he thinks about what he wants and not necessarily what Diana wants or what would be good for the team as a whole. And in this case, obviously Justin jumped the gun wanting to do one of the detours. Didn't even really listen to Diana. Diana was like, well, I would prefer to do the other one. And Justin didn't even ask well, why would you rather do the other one? It was just more I'm going to do this. And even Justin said, I bullied her into making that choice. So I agree. There's not much communication. It's Justin's way or the highway that we've seen this episode.
He doesn't think it through too much. He's like, I think I would be good at this. I want to do this, so that's what we're doing. And that doesn't really work out long run.
No. So I'm worried. I mean, I still think that the green team is a top contender to make it all the way to the end, which would be cool because it's obviously going to be a dream come true for them being super fans of the race. But I'm also worried that if they don't work on this communication where Justin does need to listen to Diana. Diana is his teammate. Diana is someone he's running this race with. She does have input. She does have a way of thinking in her opinion. If he doesn't take what she has to say to heart and consider other options, then it could be the reason for them.
She's going to stand up for herself a little more, I think.
Yes. Paula Mangarelli in the live chat just said Justin can be a little too high strung, and that's a good statement to make. I would agree with that.
Before they got to choosing the detours, when they had to get to the square and find that guy for their info. Yeah. I noticed, so Justin and Diana get there first and they run up and Phil's there.
I know Phil's all this team making smart decisions.
So I'm okay, so they obviously knew where to find it because Phil was there filming. Then all the other teams get there and they're running around like chickens with their heads cut off trying to find this guy. And Phil wasn't there. So I was like, that wasn't fair. They had a clue. They saw Phil. Oh, it must be here.
I like that. That's a really good point that I didn't really think of. Made me so mad.
But then I was like, did it really happen that way? Did they maybe let them find it first and then they went back and filmed that?
Stop. We're going to film this.
You don't really know. But if it happened the way it looks like it happened.
Whoops, my seat just sunk. Excuse me. No, I really like what you're saying. That's a really good point. Because there are some moments
Because sometimes things are so easy that, like, you make them hard. Like, okay, we're in the square, and you're looking around for something, and it's like the dude's standing right there, and you just look past it. But I mean, if Phil's standing next to the dude,
then
you're going to know you're in the right
that
spot.
That's where you need to stop. I like that. That's a really good observation. Very good observation.
Anywho, moving on.
Because usually it's a clue box that
right.
Phil's standing next to, not an individual that teams are searching
right, and him
for.
just being there in the middle. I was so confused. I was like, did I black out? Is this the pit stop? What's happening? Like,
so many questions.
So many questions.
Justin from the Green Team, of course, weighing in on the conversation we just had regarding him and Diana. Justin said, in my head, I know the race better, so sometimes I overrule her, which I know is not the best attitude to have. You know, at least Justin is aware. At least he's aware of it.
It's a little too late. We'll see.
But I like that observation.
Yeah, so
that's why it's great to have an amazing racer on the panel to give us her
notice
feedback.
These little things and get angry about them.
So the Green Team bickering a lot. Cheerleaders in Team Texas ran the wrong way to the train station, which of course cost them some time, because had they gone to the station initially, they probably would have been on the second train ahead of all the other teams. But instead, all the teams caught up to them at the train station, which now again, equalizer, right. Green Team way ahead, and paparazzi just missed the train by, like, you know, who knows? Just
maybe by
like 30 seconds for dramatic effect.
An hour.
Yeah, right, or an hour. Who knows with the editing? So yeah, that's where all the teams are at this point in the race. Before we continue on recapping this episode, I just want to remind everyone who's watching in the live chat right now, and that means 27 of you, well, 26, because I'm one of those 27. The 26 of you watching, there's a thumbs up button on our YouTube video. Make sure you press that thumbs up and give us a thumbs up. Right now we have 16, which I'm impressed with, because that's more than in the past. That's before 16, I even reminded y'all. So thank you for the thumbs up, everyone. And don't forget, more importantly, to rate, comment, and subscribe to our after show, because you guys get us excited to come here every week and talk about the show that we love. Just like
we
you
wouldn't
guys
want to talk to nobody.
Exactly.
So. Keep it up.
Because I am having a really hard time keeping up with the live chat right now. So that's good. That's a good response.
That's good news.
Good news. So yeah, rate, comment, and subscribe.
Oh my god.
Oh, and also another news, since we are taking a little break for a second, I just want to give a shout out to TJ from Tim and TJ, the college sweethearts from The Amazing Race. It is TJ's birthday today.
Oh,
so happy birthday
TJ.
from AfterBuzz TV to you. Great. Now let's continue with episode 6. Once teams make their way back to Paris and end up finding this man with the white face and the white clothes and the crazy hair. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Le Fantôme Blanc?
Sure.
Someone said it, the English translation on the show.
It's the White Phantom.
Oh, thank you. The White Phantom. All right. I'll just say, once they found the White Phantom, they would get their next clue, which was the detour, Drops Mike, or Bust a Crab. In Drops Mike, teams had to head to something French and perform a rap song by rapper Pussy in standard French. If their French pronunciation, I again would totally screw this one over, rhythm and vibes were correct, Pussy would give them their next clue. In Bust a Crab, teams had to travel to French restaurant where they worked on a French signature crab dish, the royal platter. They must shuck and crack crabs properly to meet the chef's standards. At the end of both detours, teams received a postcard depicting a bridge, which was of their next location, Pont Alexandre III. There you have it. So which detour would you have done, Marie? Drops Mike or Bust a Crab?
Bust a Crab, 100%. Mm-hmm. Although, okay, here's my reasoning behind it. Okay, so in Drops Mike, someone else is judging your performance. Like, no matter, there's no like right or wrong, you know? Right. Oh, your vibe isn't enough. Your pronunciation isn't enough. Like, in the crab one, as long as you replicate what you saw, like, there's only one way to do it. You know, if you get it done and it matches, you're done. It's not like someone's going to be telling you, you know, you didn't do it right. Like, it's there, it's done. Mm-hmm. So I go for the ones that, like, when there's like a technicality there, like do it the right or wrong way, there's only one way to do it, I would rather do that. When someone else is judging your performance, no.
I love that. That's such a good point. Huh.
Yeah.
Now, for people who are applying for The Amazing Race in the future, that is great advice to remember.
However, something like the crab thing is really frustrating. I mean, immediately it took me back to when, in our season, when we had to do the date challenge in Abu Dhabi and you had to arrange all the different dates. I mean, I had like a major meltdown there. And it was one of the worst legs ever for me and Tim as far as screaming at each other and, going nuts doing it. It took hours. But still, again, there's a right or wrong way to do it versus someone just judging your performance. I still would pick it over again.
Huh.
What do you think? What would you do?
Well, I would probably have done Bust a Crab because, as you know, I can't even speak today. I'm having a hard time.
Because you can't even speak English.
I can't even speak English half the time or pronunciate most of the names that racers travel to on the show. So I definitely would have done Bust a Crab, and I wouldn't have thought the same way you have thought about it, but knowing that now, that's probably what I would have done too. One right way or wrong way to do it, and I would have done it for sure. And overall, I just didn't like the detour of drop a mic.
Neither.
I thought it was lame in comparison to everything that the race has done on previous seasons. I was just like
there was other
boring.
Cooler stuff that they could have done,
especially for being in Paris.
Right, like that's something you could have done anywhere.
Yeah, it would have been fun to see something, maybe like do something at the Eiffel Tower, like more. I want to see more sights. I don't want to see people rapping. I felt like it was like cross promotion for this French rapper that wasn't necessary because I'm from America and I'm not going to look up the sky.
And because then all the rappers had the shirts on, there was logos everywhere for the group, and I was like, why are we plugging this rap group so much?
Yeah,
what's happening here?
It didn't make sense to me, and I was kind of bored with that. But the only team that really made me excited to watch was Tiffany and Krista because they were so cute about it and like obviously did a great job.
Of course they did.
So I loved the cheerleaders doing it. They made it fun for us to watch, but overall it was just I hated the detour.
Yeah,
I just didn't like it. I felt like there's better things that they could have done as far as challenges. But yeah, a lot of people in the chat before we even went live also agreed that this detour was just kind of even the crab one. They're like, what? Like snail seems more appropriate for being in France. So I don't know.
Or maybe if they had to like eat something disgusting
like maybe like
while they were there.
A pound of snail.
Right. Like eat a pound of snails.
That actually I would be like, I would prefer to wrap over eat snails. But
but it was funny. You
even
noticed,
caviar or something.
Yeah, right, exactly. When they got to the wrapping one, like even like Justin and Diana, the second they got there, like he turned his hat around and she like spun her bandana forward like Tupac, and like everyone kind of like got into character right away. And I think who was it? The reporters. I think it was them.
Yeah.
He's like, I like your grill. That's sick.
Yeah. And his hat was already turned in the
like
taxi
sideways.
cab. Yeah. Oh gosh. But yeah, this is where we also saw the green team bickering a lot more. This is when they were talking about we saw that Justin doesn't really listen to Diana.
Right.
When Diana's making a suggestion like, I would prefer to do grab, Justin's like, no, we're going to do this.
Because right before she was like, I'm not going to be good at this. Like, this is your thing. This isn't my thing. And then he was like, well, this is what we're doing. And then she's like, okay. He's like, are you sure? Well, you just made the decision.
And then Justin's like, I'm trying to listen to you. Help the situation. And I'm just thinking, Diana tried before you even made this decision by giving her input that she didn't feel comfortable doing this one. But, it didn't really matter because they still were in such a lead that they, of course, got to fill first. But once teams completed their detours, actually, let's talk about James Earl and Denise because they were just kind of left there at the to be continued. So they're just they're still rapping in Paris.
They tried. They wanted to do the other detour. They knew they were going to be terrible at this, but they couldn't find it. So they were kind of lost for a while, and they were like, you know what? Let's just go do the other one. And he knew. He was like, you're not going to be able to rap. Like, what are you talking about? They were like, let's just do it. We can't find the other one. We're losing time. Let's go. And I think it was like 20 tries.
I think I would have rather spent more time looking for the detour that I've committed to than going to a detour that I already know.
Again, we don't know how far apart they are.
True.
We don't know if they were running back and forth across like a courtyard between two things, or if they had, getting in a cab, they're miles away. We don't really know. But I would have stuck with looking for it because he knew that they weren't going to be able to do it.
Right.
Like, you're lost. What's fine? You get to the other one a little bit late. That's still better than going to do something that is basically impossible.
Yeah. I don't know. I would be curious to hear James Earl's input because I think I would have been more like, we already committed to this detour rather than wasting the time going to the other detour and then learning this rap where already we know that he was like, you're not going to do well at this. It's more of a gamble to just keep sticking to the detour that you're at. But I think because they didn't see any other teams, I remember him mentioning, like, when you don't see other teams with you, that's when you start to worry.
He might have thought, oh my God, we're in last place. Right.
Of like, oh my gosh, we need to be around other teams.
But general rule, guys, everyone, don't switch detours.
Just don't.
Don't ever switch detours. It doesn't ever work out.
No, not at all. So poor Denise and James are all still rapping in Paris while other teams are moving forward in the race. The route info, once they completed their detour and found this bridge, said across from the iconic monument where the first team will triumph, referring to the Arc de Triomphe, was the pit stop, and Phil informed the teams that the next leg was to begin immediately. But again, in the clue, it was interesting how the cheerleaders on the way to the Arc de Triomphe said, how come, I think it was Krista that said it, how come it didn't say pit stop?
Oh, right.
So
because it's really just a route info.
Yeah.
Because they're going to keep going.
So then, of course, we find out now that Phil's like, you're still racing. You're going to keep on going. The leg hasn't stopped. So now the question is it going to be an elimination leg?
No.
Or will that continue to be like what we saw earlier with, the track stars and all them? Oh, and the cheerleaders got last, remember?
That's
and then
right,
it was to be continued. So will it be the same thing? History repeating itself? Or are James, Earl, and Denise going to get eliminated?
No, they're not getting eliminated.
I don't think so either.
If they were going to get eliminated, they would have ended the episode. Phil would have won and got them because it had been hours. I think this is just to freak everyone out. This is going to make them have to finish it because they're not getting eliminated. And, however many tries it takes, they're going to get it done. And then they're going to find out that they're still racing.
Yeah.
And it's going to all have been worth it.
And then they're going to find their way from the bottom to the top. I have faith in my team.
They're going to be.
I'm not ready to say goodbye to them yet. So, Tiffany in the live chat from the cheerleader said James, Earl, and Denise got lost because there was another restaurant with the same exact name. Everything in Paris probably would have sounded the same to me. I would have been so confused. I'm just really quick before we make predictions and talk about our fantasy teams. I just want to see if everything else in the live chat we want to touch on. Ellis Tedder says, James, did you watch that video I sent you on Twitter? I have not had a chance, but I plan on doing that the moment we are done live here in the studio, and then I will tweet you back and let you know what I thought. Some bonus clip regarding one of the teams, so I'm curious to know what that says. But all right, well, let's do predictions really quick. What do you think is going to happen next week?
Well, like I said, Denise and James are not getting eliminated. It's going to be NEL.
NEL.
I don't know. All right, let me start with who's going home next week. Next week, either the reporters are going home or Shack Attack.
The reporters. That's so interesting. Why would you say the reporters?
Because we still haven't really seen that much. Like, if they're going to be around for a while, I feel like there would have been a little more. Like, there's still not much going on there. So unless something super exciting and interesting starts happening with them next leg, I don't see anything developing.
Sure.
I don't know. And the winners of the next leg are going to be Tanner and Josh.
Okay. Oh.
What?
Oh. So it is confirmed that it is a non-elimination leg. I'm watching the preview without sound. The link that Ellis Tedder tweeted me. Yes.
Do you think that's like an editing accident or like?
Oh, right. They're like, you still need to do this just for. So yeah, it looks like in the preview for next week's episode, Full Speed Ahead Captain, it shows James, Earl, and Denise doing one of the challenges that all the other teams are also doing in the preview. So
okay.
No spoilers there, guys. This is not a spoiler. This is factual. It's in the preview. Okay. I think next week, not elimination, as we know. I think that the cheerleaders are going to get first. I think they're underestimated, and they keep working their way up. And it's long overdue, in my opinion. I think they deserve a first place finish, and they just have a positive attitude. So, and I love them, so I'm kind of biased about it too.
Of course.
So. And really eliminated, I think it's going to come down to Paparazzi or Shack Attack.
Shack Attack.
I'm only saying them because I still don't know them as a team.
Right, exactly.
I'm like, you're this far into the race, and it's not their fault. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not Cindy and Rick's fault. I think editing.
We're just not seeing it because it's not relevant.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I would think that paparazzi would be going home, but they're so, like, I feel like we're going to watch them argue till the end.
They're going to argue it there to the end, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're villains. They're good TV. They're annoying to watch because they bicker all the time, but still, like,
And they just really started, like, the last 2 episodes, so I feel like if they were going to be going home soon, we wouldn't have seen that much of it.
All right.
I don't know.
It's going to be an interesting episode next week. All right, full speed ahead, Captain. Just kidding. So let's talk about our fantasy league teams.
Do I even have one?
You still do Track Attack. You still have Track Attack.
Oh, great. They're
going
home.
Of course, because this week no one was eliminated. There's no new X's up on our graphic. But we still have 7 teams in the race. Let's talk about Team Marie for a second. You only have the lone team of Check Attack, Cindy and Rick. What do you think of them still in the game? Do you think that they have a chance of going far in the race?
I hope they stay in it because they're on my team. But no, I think they're going home next week. Again, sorry, Check Attack, but I ended up with you guys by default because I was the last one to pick and you were all that was left.
I mean, I would, as a viewer, be nice to see a little bit more from them. I feel like they're kind of getting robbed in the edit. Maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe we're not seeing much of them because they do make it far and they'll pull out some crazy shiz and strategy at some point. Who knows?
No.
I'm a little too hopeful.
Maybe. I don't know.
Let's talk about Team Jess since she's not here. She still has all the 3 powerhouse teams.
Of course she does.
And that's really all that people need to be aware of. That's it.
Yeah.
Team
What do you
Jess.
think about your team? What's going to happen next week with your teams?
Of course, I'm a little nervous for Denise and James Earl. I'm hoping that they're able to fight their way from the bottom, at least to the middle of pack, if not the top, because I want them to do well. I really like them. Paparazzi, I hope they can get it together, because I don't know how much longer they'll last. And the cheerleaders, I'm so proud of them for getting second this week, and I hope that they continue to remain in the top 3 and earn their slot in the finale. So I'm happy with my teams. I feel like most of them are underestimated and that they could really pull out some tricks from their sleeves and surprise a lot of people.
We'll see. I'm wondering if there's going to be an equalizer where Denise and James can kind of catch up, or if there's not, and this really is just a continuous leg. I mean, they're hours behind. There's no way.
Mm-hmm. Who knows? It's a tough call. As far as point updates, I have point updates on Fantasizer.com. Just so everyone knows how badly Team Jessica is kicking our butt. Once I get that link loaded. Actually, it's not loading anymore. Bummer.
I feel like I have like 3 points. I think I have negative points.
No, you have like 40 something. Oh, here we go.
But you guys have like 500.
No, I'm not even close to Jess, nor are you. Team Reeves has 46 points, according to Fantasizer. I have 71 points, and Jess, 122.
Oh my God.
Whatever. Well, that's where our standings are with the Fantasy League teams. Whose team are you on? Are you on Team Reeves, Team Jess, or Team James? Let us know in the comments below. And that wraps up our recap this week. Marie, where can they find you on social media?
You guys can find me at Reepsicle on all social media platforms.
And you can find Jessica on all social media platforms at DressJessXO. And you can find me on Twitter at James Wallington and on Instagram at James.Wallington. And we'll see you guys all next week, Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on AfterBuzz TV. Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.